Okay,
Well,
now it's
welcome.
working.
Welcome from Portugal. Nya Cruz is here. Nya Cruz. I got all in shambles here because Zoom wasn't working right at the beginning. So let's start that over. Welcome to Portugal. Welcome from Portugal. Nya Cruz is here from Kandia to talk about the band's new album, Quaternary. Was released on January 21st of this year. Kandia is Nya Cruz on lead vocals, Andre De Cruz on lead guitar, Daniel Silva on drums, and Bernardo Kima on bass. And I absolutely love this album, especially the concept and spirit of the album, which we definitely will be talking about soon. But Nya, first off, tell us about the origin story. How did you guys get together to create this wonderful art?
Well, I met Andre when he joined my previous band in 2007. We were looking for a new guitar player and he auditioned. And after about a year and a half, we realized that we had very similar ideas and they were going against the mood of the band. So we decided to live together and do this new band called Kandia. And we recorded an EP in 2008, and then we did the record in 2010, and then All Is Gone in 2013. And that was basically it. It's been the two of us since the beginning. Then we have some musicians that join us live. But in the recording process, it's usually me, him, and Daniel Cardoso, the producer, that also plays a lot of instruments and started also songwriting with us in 2013 for All Is Gone. And he also did some songwriting for Quaternary now.
All right. Tell us a little bit about the story of Quaternary. It's a wonderful concept and idea, and go ahead.
Well, this was supposed to be an EP that we started writing in 2019, and we had two songs finished for Walls that we actually released in May 2020, and we had another song that is Murderous. It was called Oblivion back then. But in the middle of the recordings, we got in touch with this Frontiers Records initiative, and we decided to send our songs and demos there. And in 2 weeks, they got back to us and said they really liked the songs. And we ended up signing a deal. So the EP became an LP, which is Quaternary now. So we,
more
yeah,
songs.
More songs. So yeah, the concept of the album, I don't like to say it's a concept album because, you know, it would be an insult to Dream Theater and other bands because they do the real conceptual albums, but it surely was thought of as if it was a movie that you watch. You have that intro, you know, that cinematic thing in the beginning, and then it ends with the end credits go with Holocene, basically. So yeah, the concept was there. We already knew what we wanted to do and what we wanted to talk about. So we just had to make more songs. That was it. And that's what we did.
Well, you mentioned that cinematic opening. Anthropocene is just a wonderful atmospheric opening. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? How that
that was the last thing we did. We knew we wanted to do it, but we left it to the end because we wanted to sum it up on that intro. And we talked with a friend of ours that does scores and trailers, songs, and we talked to him and we talked about what the record was about. So we could get in the mood and sent him the lyrics. And he actually did it in real time. We were doing a video chat and he started playing the piano and introducing the cellos. And I got, you know, goosebumps all over and this knot on my throat. And I started crying. That was it. And I said, this is it. This is it. I got really emotional because it was what I had dreamed of, and he totally got it. And I believe it's an awesome start for the rest of the album.
Definitely. And then obliterate just really obliterates. It's just heavy duty, and I love it. How long will haters keep, tying and trying, pulling faster? I mean, it just gets you going immediately.
Yeah, that starts the whole concept of the record. That song.
It does.
Yeah, it continues with the intro, connects with it, and it's like it's telling you what the record's going to be about. It's like a summary of what the record will be about, about the relationships between humans and the relationship between humans and the planet and other species. So that's what it talks about. It's that need that the humans seem to have to strain everything to the max, and when it drains, we drain everything out. And the song is about that. We drain relationships with each other, we drain the planet, we drain everything.
That really hit home here. My wife's from Ecuador, and she says that Americans are very much how you just described. They got to have the biggest cup. They got to have the full plate of food. We do over here. We do tend to do that, but it's funny to hear it from you. It's true in Europe as well, then.
Well, I think the United States are not the major problem now. The whole world, except for third world countries, are doing it, are exceeding what the planet can actually hold. We are the only species in this planet that takes more than what it needs, and it's taking a toll on the planet.
Yeah, it definitely is. Well, and that leads right into Flood, which is, I think, one of the best. I still think the last song is the best, but Flood would probably be my second favorite. And do you want to describe that? And the video is excellent. Will you make I think it's more of a lyric video. Will you make a?
Yeah, it's a lyric video. Yeah. We decided to start with a lyric video, and we got those images from incredible artists, and it's the continuation. What's probably going to happen, and why do we keep on doing this if we know we're going to have consequences? And as we are speaking right now, I just saw the news yesterday that there are floods happening in Brazil. And in the UK, I believe also. So yeah, people might not want to believe or feel comfortable to believe that the climate change is real. I don't care if it's human and manipulated, or if it's really happening because of our actions. It is our actions, even if it's manipulated by the human being. So the song basically talks about that. It's the fires, it's the flood. So it's the continuation of this is what is happening, and all these things that happen are influencing us too as human beings. And then we go to fight or flight next, because it talks about the anxiety and depression, because it's been rising up. And we are seeing depression and anxiety on the young people now, not just people from my generation or your generation. It's starting really early. You see teenagers really struggling with anxiety and depression. And I think it's problematic. It's really problematic. And we need to stop and think why this is happening.
And COVID is added to all that as well. And that really has not helped anyone, or helped. At the beginning, I remember that first year, the beginning of that first year the world sort of stopped, and humans stopped everything that they had been doing for a while.
Yeah.
And you almost, or I did anyway, and maybe you noticed that the earth kind of responded, and there was this feeling of, I mean, it rained, it did the things that it used to do.
Yeah.
Did you feel that? I know I did.
Yeah, I did, but it was a small amount of time. It was not
Yes, it
enough,
was.
and because after that, now you have all the pollution that the masks are causing and gloves, and because people are not being careful enough to. So whatever time we got from that year, we basically ruined it in like 2 months or 3 months or whatever. So we really need to think deeper and dig deeper to see what we can do that can actually slow down things a bit. I'm pretty sure of what we need to do, and scientists seem to be too, but it's really hard to get so many people to change habits. So I fear, and let's go to fight or flight again, because it talks about anxiety. For people like me that suffer from anxiety, this whole pandemic was kind of frightening.
Yeah.
And the feeling of being stuck inside your home, not being able to go out, and because I have a little kid and I'm thinking about our future, so it makes me pretty anxious to think that the future is not very bright right now.
And I remember it hit Portugal pretty bad at the beginning.
Yeah, but
here,
yeah, it did.
Yeah. And you guys were locked down real heavy. We've been semi locked down, but never to the point of you guys, Australia, some of these places.
Yeah.
And still we have people that complain and, over a mask. Imagine,
Yeah.
Well, let's just take a short little break and just, what are some of your hobbies? What do you like doing when you're not recording music, or when you're not
Well, cooking.
Yeah.
I love cooking. Yeah, cooking, baking, and gardening. I love gardening. It really soothes me. And I like watching some documentaries because I like to stay informed. I used to love watching movies, but right now I'm much more into documentaries, finding out about stuff I didn't know, and yeah, and real stories too. So yeah, but cooking and gardening are what keeps me, grounded and calm. I really like that.
Well, yeah, and I feel the same way with you about movies. I love movies, but there haven't been any decent
No.
ones. I love Dune, but again, that was a rehash, and it was a much better rehash for sure. And I'm looking forward to the Lord of the Rings thing, but again, somebody's got to come up with something new, and I know they will.
Yeah.
But,
I'm much more into series now,
well,
I really
yeah,
like Stranger Things because it has all that 80s vibe, and it reminds me of my childhood. And I'm watching The Witcher too. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. Excellent. And I like the fact you like documentaries. I was a poli-sci undergrad, political science, and so yeah, I actually like documentaries. I know most people are like, why do you watch that? But you learn a lot.
Yeah, you really do.
I'm also a professor, so I like learning, and never have shied away from that. All right. Until the end, a very strong statement towards narcissistic lovers.
Mm-hmm.
That must have come from some experience, bad experiences.
Yeah, me too. So yeah, here we go. It's again the human relationships, and I believe that abusive relationships are growing a lot, and you can see once again teenagers accepting behaviors that are not normal. Yeah, so the song basically talks about that, how we sometimes have that Stockholm syndrome. We are in an abusive relationship, but we keep nurturing it and we keep going. So it's why it's called Until the End. We seem like we're gonna keep going and going and going and falling into these abusive relationships on and on and on, because we just don't see the red flags, and we don't feel like we are brave enough to cut the thread and just put an end to it. It's really hard to get out of an abusive relationship. And when you don't have friends or family that are close, it's even harder. Because you always have that idea that you're going to say that you're in an abusive relationship, and sometimes people actually think oh, maybe that's not that bad, or the other person is such a good actor that people think you are the abusive one on the relationship. It's really, yeah, it's really messed up, and it's really dangerous that we see these young kids considering getting a slap as a normal thing, and being controlled. It's really, really dangerous.
That is. That's not the way people should be communicating.
Yeah.
No. And then the wonderful declaration on Turn of the Tide. We will not be silenced. Love it. You might like the new. I just bought the new Midnight Oil album about resisting. Check that out. But yeah,
okay.
But definitely talk about this one. This one really lit the fire for me. I really like.
Well, this song was really thought about. We wanted a song to finish our concerts, and this was the one. Yeah, because it's a hymn, and we want to leave people singing it at the end of the concerts. So yeah, basically the song is about resisting oppression, and we can see much oppression happening right now. And I'm not talking about making you wear a mask or anything like that. I'm talking about other stuff.
Serious.
Yeah. And it usually comes very well disguised, that kind of oppression I'm talking about.
Yep.
And what I consider to be a bit dangerous right now, and what I really talk about in that song, is that you see major corporations very close to governments, and I can't help but feeling that they're cooking something backstage,
Well,
and yeah.
They announced that Disney was going to do something that we haven't seen here since the 1800s. They're going to build these communities where you have the Disney store, you have the Disney supermarket, you have the Disney gas station, and all that money goes back to Disney. And of course, my son, I didn't read the whole article. My son was telling me they're going to hire actors, and they'll come in, they can play the princess or something like. I mean, and now other major companies. So the old company town is what we used to call it. I mean, from history, I am also a history minor. And in you had the oil companies, and they had all those things, the stores, the supply house, all that stuff, and all the money filtered back to it. And that type of oppression. And and the moral of that whole thing was that you're not going to buy anything anymore. You're always going to be renting, and someone else is going to be the owner, and that is very scary.
Yeah, that's that sentence that's been going around for the last couple of months, and I've been seeing it everywhere. It's like, you will own nothing, and you'll be happy. And and it kind of scares me a little bit, because we are being absolutely detached from what is our real part in this world. People are getting very distant from each other. We're being divided, and all of this is extremely, extremely dangerous. And this song, Turn of the Tide, was actually inspired by a book that you obviously know, which is called 1984 from George Orwell.
Yeah. That was required reading in I think high school and undergraduate, but yeah. Definitely.
And I've been thinking about that book often lately. And yeah, it really inspired the song. And the song also talks about, you know, the oppression, not just that kind of oppression, but the kind of division that people create, you know, race and you know, sexual orientation or whatever. It talks about that too. Yeah, we should unite more, not be divided, but we need to wake up. We really need to wake up.
And your song says that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then if that wasn't powerful enough,
PvP, yeah.
He just comes at you like a fist. And that the vocal that you do is just, where do you pull that from? That is awesome.
Oh, well, in the middle of the song, it's not me, okay?
Oh.
the rest of the growls is me, but not in the middle of the song, because when we were doing the song, I actually contacted Ginger's singer Tatiana, but they were recording a record, so she wasn't available. But Daniel, the producer, really wanted a strong growl in the middle, and I said, I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to pull that off like you want to. So we left that middle part to a friend of ours, which is Nono Rodrigues, is an excellent singer. Yeah, and the middle section is not me, but all of the rest is. And it's funny that I've seen a lot of reviews that people don't understand that it's me. They think it's Andre.
I thought for sure it was you. I was like,
yeah, well, but it's
because for a long time I'd never heard a lady sing like that. But
yeah, but
there are
it's
so
me.
many out there that it's like,
yeah,
no, but you assume that, you know.
And the whole record, it's just that middle section from PvP is not me, but all of the rest it is. But that middle section, no, it's not me. I won't take credit for something that is not me. But yeah, the song is called PvP. It means predator becomes prey. Mm-hmm. And the song is, well, I'm vegan, so it talks a little bit about that, you know, changing the parts. How would we feel if it was the opposite? Because if humans were being slaughtered at the same rate that animals are being slaughtered for consumption right now, the human race would be eradicated in like days. And this is insane when you think that there are still people in the world that are starving. Yeah. So this is pretty insane. And the song is about that. It's we're all in a way paying for this slaughter to happen, and so that's it. The blade, we take the blade without taking the blade. You know, we pay for someone to take the blade. And that's it, and that's why the middle verse that I say, it's the blood's the same. Yep. No. You know, inside the veins the blood's the same. What changes is who holds the blade. And yeah, and that's basically it. So it's about that, because that's one of the reasons why the planet is suffering right now. It's the high consumption of meat and dairy and eggs and all that stuff. Yeah. And
all the grain and everything that goes into those animals that could go to countries that
exactly. And what's happening in the Amazon, it's devastating, because it's not the soya for vegans, it's soya for the animals. Yep. And people seem to forget that.
That's true. And he's just tearing down the heart, not the heartbeat, but the lungs of the world for that purpose. And that hurts most. There's, you know, you're talking about the rainforest, the most important rainforest in the world. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, Death Wish is a cool video. How did you do that? And go ahead and talk about that. Talk about the song if you want as well. But
the video was done in our studio, me and Andre. I had an idea of what I wanted to do. It's like a sort of devilish thing, you know, just not to be that normal lyric video with the lyrics on. So a little bit of a performance. And the song was a very fun song to write. And it has a very catchy chorus that people seem to like a lot. The chorus sticks to your head. People keep telling me that. And it's again about destructive relationships, you know, human to human and human to planet. And it's like we're tearing everything apart. Is this our death wish? You know, are we doing this because we really want to be eradicated from the planet? Why do we keep hurting each other? Why do we keep hurting other species? It's really about that. It seems like a pretty nasty death wish.
It does. It definitely
Yeah.
is. Murders, is that the feeling I got about it was, and it may be local. That's I guess that's what I'm trying to ask. Is it more of a local Portugal thing, or is it a global thing? Like
It's global. It's
Jamal
global. It's
Khashoggi,
it's about war.
you know, Alexei Navalny, or the Uyghur in China. Is it that type of global perspective, or is it something that's, go ahead.
No, it's a global perspective. Yeah, it's about war. It's about that group of people that are, you know, manipulating everything. They're going to their little meetings and they decide things for us. So it's about that. It's about, you know, because the song, if you read the lyrics, you can see that the song talks about, we're on this side, we're all safe because we don't have war in Portugal, hopefully. So we're kind of in our home, in our couch, we turn on the TV and we see all this happening in Syria and other countries. And what are we going to do about?
I'm surprised you didn't mention Ukraine and Russia, because I would think
that's happening now. That's happening now, right?
I would think that would have Europe on its haunches, nervous. I know it has us worried. We don't have the men to throw at it right now, and that means theater nuclear, and we don't ever want to go down that road. So I'm very tense about that whole situation.
Yeah, because you don't have enough things to worry about now. You have that too.
In the middle of an pandemic, you know, what the heck? Let's war.
That just shows what humans are about, right? So the song is basically about that. It's about war, devastation, and you know, it's always the same people that seem to suffer from all of this. And it's madness. It's madness.
Definitely. So now we turn to, I think, a positive sign, and the most positive sign in the album, A New Dawn. And you kind of show us how we come out of the fire and all the angst. You tell me, am I wrong or right?
No, you're right. You're right. It's about breaking the chain. It's about stopping what's been being done the wrong way. And it starts with our kids. It starts with education, and it starts at home. We can't leave everything to the teachers at school. We need to start at home. Because, you know, if you teach your kid that he needs to be a competitor instead of someone that works, you know, in a community, as a society, for a global good, we're not going anywhere. If people keep thinking that we're here to compete with each other, we're not. And we're being taught that since the day we are born. And I don't believe it's true. I believe we need to unite and be kind to each other. And it starts with the young kids. And so it's going to take a lot of time to get it done. Because if I'm teaching my kid that, you know, to have compassion, to be kind, to accept the differences from other people. But, you know, maybe my neighbor is teaching his kid that he needs to hate on Black people, or he needs to hate homosexuals, or, so
Or
it's
how to
going to
use
be
a gun.
really,
I mean, it's
yeah,
crazy over here. I mean,
yeah,
yes, you've got your own situations in Europe, but over here, we're fighting people that are handing guns down to their kids and saying,
yeah,
if you need to solve the solution, here's
yeah,
and there's the case where the mother actually drove her son to that protest. Here's a gun, take care of things. And it's like,
this
hey,
is insane.
what?
That's insane.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
insane.
And then he
Ah,
gets out. Yeah,
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 so yeah, that's it. And some people, I know we are not many, but when I wrote that song, it's because I kind of discovered a few people that seem to be waking up to that and trying to change things and trying to educate their kids in a different way, and live in the cities and going to the countryside, and having trying to build communities of people that live from the earth, that, and I wish I could do that, but it's not possible for now. We need to go back to basics,
yeah,
and the song is about that. It's about that not everything seems to be lost. We still have time.
yeah.
We just need to figure out what we need to do exactly. And I think it really comes from that. We need to be more united, and we need to respect each other. And in the beginning of the pandemic, everyone seemed to be all, oh, rainbows and bunnies, and oh my God, people are going to get out of this and be a lot more kind, and bull shbeep,
Yeah, yeah.
you're seeing the opposite completely. So it kind of makes you lose hope, but I still have hope. I still have hope.
I do too. Yeah, and you're watching what's going on in Canada, and yeah, it's and people from here supporting all that, and it's hard to stay optimistic, and I am an optimist, eternal, and I always will be, no matter how bad it gets. I'll still think that there's a way out of this. I don't know if you call it the Captain Kirk, don't worry, Scotty, there's a way out of this thing.
Yeah.
That kind of okay. Holocene is definitely my favorite song. It is an incredible song. I hope there'll be a video. So I just want to
Me
ask.
too. We're trying to take care of that, but we want to do something. We've been talking with our director and friend, Ricardo, that he does all our videos. And when we first listened to the record, he said, "Oh my God, please tell me that you're going to do a video for Holocene, and this is going to be the first single." And I said, "No, it's not going to be the first single."
It's a big epic song. It needs.
Yeah. So then we did Fight or Flight, and he came here at my house, and we had a dinner, and we talked about Holocene and doing a video for it. And what we are planning is something a bit cinematic.
Good.
And the band's not going to be in it, and it's going to be, he's trying to do it. We're trying to get funds to do that. He wants to do a short film. He wants to do a short film with the song, to go to festivals and that. So we're trying to get the funds to do that. It's a possibility. It's a big possibility that we're going to do a video. Now, the song itself, it was written by Daniel Cardoso and me. And he's the master of this kind of songs. And I had told him, I need a song like this for this theme, and he came up with the piano thing, and he was like, "Oh, I think this sucks. We're not going to do this." And I was like, wait for it. Give me a few days. Give me a few days to listen to it. And one day I closed myself in the studio, and it just came out.
Yeah.
And I started crying while I was writing it, because it really touches deep inside myself. And
it affected me when I first heard it. Definitely.
Yeah. and people usually tell me that they get a knot on their throat and it gets really emotional. And I think it's because it was emotional doing it, singing it and recording it. We actually ended up using some of the first recordings I did that were not final. But he told me that, the emotion is there. So it doesn't matter if it's perfect, but the emotion is there. So we're going to use these recordings. And then I did some other in the studio to the final tracks. But he used some of my first recordings because the emotion was there. And I think about my daughter a lot when I think about that song. And I was thinking about her when I was recording and writing it. So I got pretty emotional, and the song is very emotional because I wish we could go back,
Yeah.
And not do some of the stuff we did that was pretty horrible. And we seem to be in this loop.
Yeah.
That this happens, and then we reconstruct, and then here we go again, and we seem to be on this ongoing thing that we don't learn from our mistakes. And I called the song Holocene after watching a documentary by David Attenborough, where he starts.
Oh yeah.
He starts the documentary in Chernobyl, and you can see how nature took back, that area. And and that's basically it. If we cease to exist, the earth will find its way to renew. So right now we are what's wrong in this world. And the song is about that. Can we do that? Can we make amends? Can we fix this? Or is it this what we are? Are we villains? Because that's what we seem to be right now. We seem to be villains. So yeah, it's a bit of hope, but also food for thought. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to finish the record with this song to make people think.
You did. Yeah, definitely. It's a thinking song. Yeah, you did. It, as you mentioned, it's emotional, it's deep, and it does absolutely make you think. Well, you've had some good news. You guys started touring, or I don't want to say touring, but you had a concert. You had a concert. I think it was early this month, or tell us
on
a
the
little
5th.
bit. What was that? It must have been so to finally get on stage again.
But it was horrible, and I'm gonna tell you.
Oh, really?
Why. Yeah, you know what? Because it was more than 2 years since we last played, and I was really anxious. I couldn't wait to play these songs live, and I get COVID the week before.
No.
Yeah. So I got out of the quarantine the day before the gig, and I had no idea how my body was going to react, because you finish the quarantine and you obviously are not 100% yet, and it really messed up with my nose, and it obviously when I had a bit of a cough, so my throat was not 100%, and I was tired. It gave me a lot of tiredness. I didn't have a fever or anything like that. I had a really runny nose and stuffy nose, and then a bit of a cough, but I was very, very tired all the time. It was the worst symptom. Really, really, really tired. So I had no idea how my voice was going to behave. And it was really, really bad, because I made it to a half concert, and I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to do this till the end. But I did, but I had to, improvise a bit. And for me, it was kind of, I got out devastated, because I had waited for so long to do a concert, and I was so eager to play these new songs, and that happens. And it was like, oh, why? yeah, it was good, but it could have been better, you know? So yeah, it was kind of bittersweet.
Do you have some more shows planned, or
No, we had a
everyone that I've talked with in Europe is like everything seems to be on hold over there. Over here, they've just it's like the floodgates have opened, and
yeah.
forget about COVID. Everyone's doing
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah, the problem here is that countries don't have the same, restrictions and the same rules and whatever. So it gets kind of messy to know what you can do. So we had a concert scheduled, but it had to be postponed, and we hadn't even talked about it yet. And thank God, because now we would have to say, oh, it's not happening. It's going to be. We have a concert planned for August, and we're trying to get Spain to play 1 or 2 concerts, and then we're going to wait to see what happens, because all festivals are planned already, because they're trying to get the bands that didn't play the years before. So it's a pretty rough scenario for us right now. It's kind of it's kind of sad that you release a record and you have no chance to play because everything is delayed. But we're trying to do Spain, and we're trying to find a bigger band that maybe we can join and do some concerts, because we can't do it. Yeah, because we can't do it alone. It would be too risky. So let's see what happens.
Well, I hope so. I really hope so. And I know I keep mentioning it to everyone, but I hope your plans someday include coming over here, because
oh man, I wish. It's one of our biggest wishes.
I know
to
it's
go there.
tough right now for anyone to even think about coming across the ocean, but either way, probably.
Yeah.
Have you started work on a new album? I know this is such a fantastic album. It's hard to even talk about a new one, but
we haven't started writing. We have a couple of things that were not used for the record, and but knowing Andre as I do, and he knows people have been very fond of this record, he's going to put the pressure on, and I know it's going to probably make him want to stand back a bit and get away from the guitars, unless it's for playing concerts. But we have a very big desire to. It's something we've been delaying too. We want to do an EP, a bit more ambiance and a bit more in the lines of the Holocene song. And we're going to take a few things that we have recorded before and that haven't been used, and probably do an EP in between records in a more mellow mood, maybe a continuation of Quaternary, but a bit more mellow. But it's not a sure thing. It's something we would like to do, but it's not a sure thing yet.
All right. Is there anything else you wanted to discuss that I've not asked or covered?
Yeah, I think we covered everything. I just want to thank you so much for the support. It's been amazing to see that. It's really sad that we're so far away and it's so hard to go there and play, because what I've been getting is that the record's being very well received in the States.
Good.
And yeah. So yeah, it would be awesome to play there, but let's see what happens.
Well, hopefully some of the big festivals over here are talking about maybe next year bringing you on.
Yeah.
I really
hope. That would be great.
Well, hey, Nya, thank you very much for taking the time. I know you have a huge busy schedule. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us at progressiverockcentral.com. We wish you and the rest of the band all the best in your bright future. You got one hell of an album there, and I know you got more coming. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hold on just one second.